In the shimmering light that pools across Los Angeles, houses have long functioned as much more than shelter. During Hollywood's classic decades, an address could double as a press release, a billboard, a myth factory. Massive villas in Beverly Hills, Holmby Hills, Toluca Lake, Palm Springs, and the Hollywood Hills broadcast larger-than-life identities, while quieter bungalows whispered alternate stories of resistance, fragility, or retreat. Their walls absorbed laughter, music, whispered negotiations, and the echo of heartbreak. Their swimming pools caught starlight and gossip in equal measure. Yet as the city and its satellite playgrounds sprinted forward, powered by real estate speculation, new technology, and evolving taste, many of these signature residences met unpredictable endings. Preservationists call them built biography. Tourists treat them like secular shrines. Developers often see only acreage and air rights. Each viewpoint exerts pressure on whether a structure survives, evolves, or vanishes. When a star's home is lost, something irreplaceable disappears with it, a spatial record of taste, ambition, and the era's building vocabulary. The stories below illustrate that conflict in vivid color. Jayne Mansfield's Pink Palace may be the single most exuberant self-portrait ever rendered in stucco and plush carpeting. In 1957, flush with attention from The Girl Can't Help It and Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter, the 24-year-old starlet spent $76,000 on a rambling Mediterranean residence in Holmby Hills. Almost immediately, she ordered gallons of custom paint, pink lawn flamingos, pink satin draperies, and even pink bathroom fur. Floors disappeared beneath bubblegum carpets. Chandeliers shed rose-tinted light onto a heart-shaped pool, whose mosaic spelled "I love you, Janie." A Valentine from husband and former Mr. Universe Mickey Hargitay. She covered the fireplaces in pink marble, installed gilded cherubs along stair railings, and wired the house for hidden speakers so music drifted through hallways. The estate, reportedly boasting 40 rooms, became party central for Hollywood's mid-century in-crowd. A circulating legend claims that a courtyard fountain traded water for pink champagne at dusk receptions. Mansfield reveled in her candy-colored fantasy through a dizzying career that mixed publicity stunts with genuine comedic chops, every interview looping back to the house that perfectly mirrored her image. Career volatility soon intruded. Studio contracts cooled, and Mansfield's marriage unraveled, ending in 1964. Even so, she clung to the palace, seeing it as both refuge and marketing asset. Her shocking death in a 1967 automobile crash froze the property in amber. Engelbert Humperdinck bought it in 1976, preserving the color scheme out of respect and because fans stopped daily to photograph the pink facade. By the late 1990s, the building needed major repairs. When developers acquired the lot in 2002, they razed the house despite protests. To stand on that corner of Copa de Oro Road today is to confront a strange absence. The lot holds a contemporary mega-mansion with impeccable landscaping, but no trace of heart-shaped concrete or blush-tinted stucco remains. Photographs, gossip column clippings, and a scattering of salvaged fixtures archived by collectors are all that keep Mansfield's fever dream of domesticity alive. Bob Hope's Toluca Lake compound represents the opposite end of the stylistic spectrum. Restrained elegance, masking colossal scale. Hope and his wife Dolores purchased the site in 1939, then commissioned architect Richard Finkelhor to enlarge an existing structure into a 15,000 square foot English manor set amid 5 acres of rosebeds, boxwood hedges, and oaks. Behind its ivy-draped brick stood 6 bedrooms, bathrooms, a wood-paneled library where Hope rehearsed monologues, a screening room laced with Ritz carpet stripes, and closets stuffed with USO costumes. Golf, Hope's lifelong obsession, shaped the grounds as strongly as any landscape architect. He laid out a one-hole course with 2 tee boxes, a sand trap that winked toward the San Fernando Valley, and a clubhouse stocked with putters for novices. Presidents Eisenhower, Nixon, Ford, and Bush all played the hole, adding their divots to decades of celebrity footprints. The estate doubled as philanthropic engine. The Hopes staged Easter egg hunts for orphanages, sold $1,000 plates at garden galas for St. Joseph Medical Center, and opened their doors to war bond drives. Through 64 anniversaries, the house embodied domestic stability rare in show business. Bod died there in 2003 at exactly 100. Dolores remained until 2011, singing hymns in the sunroom each morning. Even monuments require upkeep. When heirs listed the property in 2013, its tax bill topped $150,000 a year, and Toluca Lake zoning allowed subdivision. Ron Burkle paid about $15 million, vowed to preserve the main residence, then parceled off peripheral lawns for discrete new builds. The famous Par 3 was shortened, not erased. The library walls were refinished rather than stripped. Inside, archival cabinetry now stores priceless USO photographs, while restoration artisans matched every crown molding profile so precisely that casual visitors cannot distinguish original oak from new growth. The house feels suspended between museum and living home, a compromise the Hopes themselves might have applauded. If the Pink Palace was kitsch and Toluca Lake tradition, Dino de Laurentiis' estate, called the Knoll, embodied diplomatic grandeur. The Oscar-winning producer, fresh from shepherding Fellini's La Strada and Knights of Cabiria, acquired the 1930s Georgian manor in the mid-1960s, viewing it as both status symbol and operational hub for his planned Hollywood expansion. Sitting high on a 10-acre Benedict Canyon ridge, the 2-story red brick residence unfurled symmetrical wings around a columned portico. Each main-level room opened through French doors onto terraces that stepped down toward formal rose parterres, a croquet lawn, and a mirror-stilled pool tiled in cobalt. An oval dining room seated 30 beneath a Venetian glass chandelier. Upstairs, 7-bedroom suites and a nursery surrounded a skylit gallery where Silvana Mangano hosted informal opera recitals. The library doubled as planning war room. Storyboards for Barbarella were pinned above a mahogany desk, while a neighboring table carried maps for a never-realized studio complex. Hollywood luminaries found their way up Angelo Drive most weekends. Sophia Loren arrived bearing homemade lasagna. Sidney Lumet sparred about censorship over espresso. Clint Eastwood practiced drives on a hillside tee box aimed toward the canyon. De Laurentiis, animated and expansive, saw hospitality as contract lubricant. After his divorce and mounting business debts, the producer sold the Knoll in the late 1970s. Several interim owners respected the house, but real estate gravity eventually won. In 1989, billionaire Marvin Davis paid a record sum, petitioned to increase square footage, and within months bulldozed the Georgian landmark. Architects replaced it with a limestone mega-mansion exceeding 45,000 square feet, complete with ballroom, subterranean garage, hair salon, and a double-height foyer modeled on Versailles. Preservationists lamented the erasure. City officials had no legal authority to stop it because the structure lacked landmark status. Today, drone photos reveal manicured lawns and a gleaming facade that could belong anywhere on the planet. Only archival blueprints and production stills preserve the memory of the gracious rooms where De Laurentiis brokered deals that shaped international cinema. More intimate but historically potent was Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz's ranch house at 1000 North Roxbury Drive. Purchased in 1954, the single-story dwelling sat on a leafy Beverly Hills block lined with celebrity mailboxes: Jimmy Stewart, Jack Benny, Rosemary Clooney. Ball and Arnaz were then inventing the multi-camera sitcom factory that would become Desilu, juggling rehearsals, pregnancy storylines, and nationwide stardom. Their home offered badly needed normalcy. A white picket fence framed a patch of St. Augustine grass where Lucy practiced golf swings between camera calls. Inside, simplicity reigned. The kitchen's knotty pine cabinets stored recipe cards for Cuban dishes alongside Ball's favorite chili. The den held a television permanently tuned to kinescope playbacks so the couple could evaluate timing. Bedrooms were decorated for Lucy and Desi Jr. with cowboy motifs and pastel quilts, evidence that even America's most famous parents prioritized bedtime stories over red carpet galas. Neighbors recall Ball strolling the sidewalk in slacks and a scarf, chatting with gardeners, waving at children on bicycles. Decades later, those fleeting encounters still fuel nostalgia tours of Roxbury Drive. Yet turbulence slunk behind the laughter. Infidelity rumors, production stress, and Desi's escalating drinking poisoned the marriage. When they divorced in 1960, Ball retained the house, repainting rooms in muted coral, replacing front yard petunias with roses, and hosting Sunday dinners with Vivian Vance. Ball died in 1989. The property changed hands twice before 2011, when new owners applied for demolition permits. Preservation advocates argued that the modest facade hid a cultural landmark where a pioneering female studio head balanced motherhood and empire building. City officials expressed sympathy but lacked leverage. The residents sat outside any protected district. Bulldozers arrived at dawn. Passers-by collected bricks as souvenirs. One fan sobbed on a lawn chair until evening. A larger, French-inspired home now occupies the site, boasting marble bathrooms, an elevator, and a subterranean garage. It is luxurious, yet completely severed from the laughter that once ricocheted between its vanished walls. The destruction of Ball's home underscores an uncomfortable truth. Ordinary-looking structures can carry extraordinary significance, and without explicit legal shields, sentiment alone seldom saves them. Frank Sinatra's Twin Palms estate introduced desert modernism to a global audience. In 1947, the singer asked 26-year-old architect E. Stewart Williams for a Georgian mansion. Williams gently suggested glass, steel, and concrete suited to the Coachella Valley's harsh climate. Sinatra agreed, provided the pool resembled a piano. The resulting low-slung, flat-roofed house used deep overhangs, cast-shadow brise-soleil walls, and sliding glass panels to blend indoors without. Twin Palms opened onto a courtyard oriented to the San Jacinto Mountains, two towering palms standing like exclamation points beside the gleaming keyboard-shaped water. The living room anchored gatherings around a freestanding stone fireplace. Concealed speakers piped in test pressings of Come Fly With Me. A wing of 4 bedrooms sheltered guests, while a compact studio isolated vocal takes from desert wind. Outside, the focal pool glittered under stars so bright, visitors swore they could read lyric sheets by starlight. During the early Capitol Records years, the property served as Rat Pack headquarters. Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Heater Lawford, and Shirley MacLaine escaped crosstown commitments to lounge on chases while Sinatra barbecued steaks at 2 a.m. Ava Gardner's presence intensified the drama. Neighbors reported champagne corks bursting and shouted reconciliations echoing off the mountains. One chipped bathroom basin, a souvenir of a flying bottle, remains purposefully unrepaired. Sinatra sold the estate in the mid-1950s after winning an Oscar and purchasing a larger hideaway nearby. Successive owners installed shag carpet, mirrored ceilings, and eventually abandoned the place to dust and vermin. By the early 1990s, copper thieves had stripped wiring, and listing brokers contemplated teardown. Salvation arrived in the form of design enthusiasts who undertook a painstaking restoration, guided by original blueprints, period photographs, and consultation with Williams himself. Their work resuscitated terrazzo floors, walnut cabinetry, and the celebrated pool's original turquoise tile. Designated a Class I historic site, Twin Palms now hosts twilight cocktail concerts during Modernism Week, ticketed tours, photo shoots, and vacation stays priced to match the legend. Walk through its restored corridors, and you can practically hear the opening brass of Night and Day. Sense cigarette smoke curling toward the clerestory windows, and picture Sinatra standing poolside, hat tilted, saluting the desert moon. Jump forward to the grunge era, and the idea of a star safe house changes shape. In mid-1992, Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love, flush with sudden wealth yet uneasy in the spotlight, rented a shingled bungalow off Ridgemont Drive in the Hollywood Hills. The 1920s structure clung to a steep lot shaded by eucalyptus. Its paint peeling and kitchen outdated, but to Cobain, these imperfections felt authentic after months in antiseptic hotel suites. The house held 2 small bedrooms, a galley kitchen, and a living room dominated by a River Rock fireplace. Cobain turned a walk-in closet into an impromptu demo booth, lining walls with egg crates and recording embryonic tracks for what would become In Utero. Love added mismatched thrift store sofas and hung fairy lights above the porch railing. A cat named Quisp prowled the eaves, stalking hummingbirds. Neighbors seldom saw the couple before dusk. They ordered vegan food delivered by motorcycle couriers, conducted interviews by fax, and watched VHS tapes of The Muppet Show. On good nights, Cobain jammed with visiting Seattle friends. On darker evenings, police were summoned over noise complaints or domestic disputes. Still, for a brief window, the bungalow served as sanctuary, a place where the pair imagined balancing artistry, marriage, and parental hope for their newborn daughter, Frances Bean. Cobain decamped to Seattle in early 1994, chasing perceived normalcy. His suicide that April turned every prior residence into a shrine. Though he died hundreds of miles away, Ridgemont Drive drew fans who left flannel shirts, cigarette packets, and scrawled pleas for peace at the gate. The property sat vacant, repossessed by a bank, and vandalized with graffiti quotations from all apologies. A decade later, new owners renovated, termite-ridden joists replaced, the porch enclosed, and an infinity spa added where a rusty barbecue once stood. The refreshed house later changed hands quietly, its listing omitting any reference to Nirvana. Yet seekers still pause on the dead-end street, unsure what they hope to glimpse: a ghost, a melody, or maybe proof that even the most fragile creative spirits once tried to build an ordinary home.